Welcome to Listen and Learn English, where you can improve your English at your own pace. Our narrators are all native English speakers, and their words are displayed so that you can read along and practice your English vocabulary. It's a great way to learn, so sit back, relax, and let's get into the video.
The Storybook of Science by Jean-Henri Fabre, 1823 to 1915. The Storybook of Science is a classic work of children's literature, written by the French entomologist and author Jean-Henri Fabre, 1823 to 1915. First published in 1864, the book was created to spark children's curiosity about the natural world. Rather than presenting dry lessons, Fabre wrapped scientific knowledge in warm, engaging stories told by the character of Uncle Paul to his young nieces and nephews. Through conversations about insects, plants, animals, and everyday natural wonders, Fabre's writing combines scientific accuracy with the charm of storytelling. The book reflects Fabre's deep belief that science should be accessible and enjoyable for everyone, especially children. He wanted young readers to observe the world around them with open eyes and to appreciate nature's mysteries, from the hum of bees to the growth of plants. His unique style, half teacher, half storyteller, has kept the book alive for generations, often compared to a science fairy tale that both entertains and educates. About the author. Jean-Henri Fabre was a French naturalist, entomologist, and teacher, remembered as one of the greatest popularizers of science in the 19th century. Born into a poor family in rural France, he educated himself with determination, eventually becoming a school teacher and later devoting his life to studying insects. Known as the Homer of insects, Fabre was admired for his patient, detailed observation of the smallest creatures, bees, beetles, ants, and more, often conducted in his own garden. Fabre wrote many books on natural history, most famously Souvenirs entomologiques, a multi-volume collection of his studies. However, it was the Storybook of Science that brought his passion for discovery to young readers in a simple and imaginative way. Today, his works continue to inspire curiosity, blending precise science with a love of storytelling that makes even the tiniest insect feel alive and fascinating. Chapter 1. The Six. One evening at twilight, the six of them sat together. Uncle Paul had a big book open in front of him. Reading was his favorite way to rest after work. Nothing refreshed him more than spending time with a book filled with the best thoughts and discoveries of others. His room was lined with neat pine shelves stacked with books of every kind, large and small, illustrated and plain, bound in cloth or simply stitched, some even trimmed in gold. Once he shut himself away in that room, it took something very important to pull him from his reading. People said Uncle Paul knew endless stories. He was always investigating, always observing. In his garden, he might pause at the buzzing hive, or stand beneath the elder bush as its little white blossoms drifted down like snow. Sometimes he bent close to study a crawling insect or a blade of grass just beginning to sprout. What did he see? What did he notice? No one could say for sure, but now and then a bright joy would light up his face, as if he had stumbled upon one of God's hidden secrets. And when he shared stories in those moments, they not only lifted the spirit, but also taught lessons that could prove useful later in life. The village held him in high regard and affectionately called him Master Paul, in recognition of the learning he freely shared with everyone. Although he was as skilled with a plow as he was with a book and managed his small farm successfully, Uncle Paul didn't work alone. He had help from Jacques, the husband of old Ambroisine. Mother Ambroisine looked after the house, while Jacques tended the animals and fields. They were more than servants. They were trusted friends who had known Paul since birth. Jacques had once carved willow whistles to cheer little Paul when he was sad, while Ambroisine often tucked a fresh hard-boiled egg into his school basket to coax him off without tears. To Paul, they were part of his family, and he deeply respected them. In return, Jacques and Ambroisine loved their master so much that they would have sacrificed anything for him. Though Uncle Paul never married and had no children of his own, he was happiest in the company of the young. With their chatter, their endless questions, and their fresh curiosity about the world. He persuaded his brother to let his 3 children spend part of the year with him, Claire, Jules, and Émile. Claire, the eldest, would soon turn 12 when the first cherries ripened. She was gentle, obedient, and hard-working, sometimes shy, but never vain. She knitted stockings, hemmed handkerchiefs, and studied her lessons without worrying about Sunday dresses. When her uncle, or Ambroisine, who was almost like a second mother to her, asked her to help, she obeyed at once and with cheer, happy to be useful. Jules, 2 years younger, was thin, energetic, and full of fire. When something caught his interest, he could hardly sleep for thinking about it. He was endlessly curious. A sparrow chirping on the roof or an ant dragging a straw could capture all of his attention. His uncle encouraged this curiosity, believing it could lead to great things if guided well. But Jules had one fault, his temper. If contradicted, he would flare up, shout, throw his cap, and sulk. Still, his anger cooled quickly, like milk boiling over and then settling down. Uncle Paul believed that gentle correction would help Jules, because at heart he was a good boy. Émile, the youngest, was a cheerful rascal, as his age allowed. If anyone ended up with berry-stained cheeks, a bruise on the forehead, or a thorn in the finger, it was usually him. While Jules and Claire loved a new book, Émile preferred his box of toys. Inside were a humming spinning top, red and blue lead soldiers, a Noah's Ark filled with tiny animals, and even a noisy trumpet his uncle had banned. No one but Émile knew what treasures the box held. But already he had begun to ask questions of his uncle, showing that his attention was awakening. He was beginning to realize that there was more to the world than toys. And if one day he left his playthings behind to listen to a story, nobody would be surprised.
We hope you enjoyed this video. Please support us by giving us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. We release new videos just like this one each week, so join us and listen to learn English.